as we look at what's going on in the current political climate, I'm just saying I don't want to turn anybody off, but I hate politics, like despise them. It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side, so I think when you pick a side, you are inadvertently supporting division. Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just gotta say, like, think about it. The wells are drying up, and now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best? The best. Do you want someone to support your startup because you're black or because you're the best? Yes. Right, so I think now for me it's about us having the best ambition. That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. That's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on, and if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I want to focus on being the best because I can bank on that. Because that's what's going to get you the position. Where, I don't want you to give me anything. I want you to panic and not let me out the room because I'm the best.
Pharrell, you cannot be apolitical while reaping all the benefits of right-leaning politics. You cannot be essentially a DEI hire for Louis Vuitton and then be against DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It doesn't just mean give black people a job. That's not what this is about. It's about diversifying, being inclusionary, and creating equitable spaces for people that will be overlooked to give the job to friends or other mediocre white people. You could be considered a DEI hire considering all the creative directors that came before you. And we like the checkerboard Louis Vuitton pants. We like them. We think they look cool. That shit you was saying up there was some bullshit. You can hate politics all you want, but politics doesn't hate you. And politics loves even more when you talk like that. 300,000 black women lost jobs in 2025. 350,000 white men gained jobs in 2025. And those numbers are rising in both directions. When you allow a country that has all of its history steeped in racism and misogyny, got its incarnation through genocide and chattel slavery, and you think about the effects that has on the modern workplace and the modern mind of Americans, you understand why DEI is a necessary tool to combat racist workplace tendencies. Not hiring the most qualified person because they're black, out of a fear of competition, out of a fear of being inadequate, pure intimidation. Black people are going to bring skills to the workplace that most people won't, and in spite of those skills, will still face all of these racial undertones, all of these microaggressions, constantly being overlooked. God damn it.
Hey everybody, it's your brother Van Silk back with another episode of Common Sense with Van Silk. Listen, I know today's what y'all call Thanksgiving. To me, it's just another day. It's also my birthday today. Happy birthday to me. But listen, I want to get back to what's really going on. You know, it's all conversation. Everybody have their own opinion. But you know, let's talk about Pharrell and the statement that he made not too long ago about politics and saying that politics is like a magic trick. And, you know, he got a lot of kickback from people like Waters and Roland Martin, Toure. A lot of people came back at him. I'm like, listen, man, what are you talking about? And see, people think politics just have everything to do with government. No, politics is in everything that we deal with in life. Let's just say, and I'm going to play these videos of what everybody had to say, fair use. Don't come at me and beat me up. You know, I just wanted to get the message out. But just let's go back and look at the situation where Pharrell said politics. Okay, you won 6 Grammys. Let me ask you a question. You think you won the Grammys without going against anybody, and you ended up being chosen to win those Grammys? It was called politics. You're getting that job over at Louis Vuitton. You think you was the only person that was up for that job, but you know, you might have had other people to convince certain people, even for your name to get in the hat. It's called politics. You know, the lawsuit you had in Virginia because of something in your family, they settled. It's called politics. You know, I'm going to tell you something about politics and DEI hires. And basically, it's not just black people that's DEI hires. Because if you look at the whole culture of hip-hop, let's just take the whole first generation. The first generation, not one of them has ever had a record job at a record label. I was the only one. I worked at Spring Records. Me and Africa Islam worked at Spring Records, and I went on to work at RCA Records, and I went on to work at Rough House Records. I wasn't a DEI hire. Everybody else that had jobs of different nationality, those were DEI hires. And see, for what you said, because you out in Paris, we here in America, we seen everything right now being stripped away from our culture and black history, and you talking about politics is a magic trick. Just a year ago, you were speaking on politics against Trump and MAGA, or MAGA, whatever you want to call it. But I sit back here and I look at what's being said by you. And my brother, I just hope that you get on the good foot and get to understand that politics is not a magic trick. It's for real. Everything in life that we do is politics. If I were to go right now and sat down with a committee of people and saying, well, you know, who you think we should choose this year to get an award, Pharrell or Jay-Z? Now, at the end of the day, I could say I want Pharrell. Somebody else could say I want Pharrell. And then you might have somebody say, well, nah, I want Jay-Z. No, we want Jay-Z. Now, we have a committee, and it's just say a board of directors of 9 people. You got some people that's on the board that's more powerful than others. You ever realize that? They're more powerful. So at the end of the day, those who got the bigger voice might say, you know what? Nah, we're going to give it to Jay-Z. I got 3 members of the board with me. We overrule and everything. So we want to give it to Jay-Z this year. And guess what that's called? Politics. Politics, my brother. So at the end of the day, I think you need to come back and kind of clean that up a little bit. But meanwhile, we're going to let Reese Waters and Roland Martin and everybody clean it up for you. Fair use. This is Van Silk. Common Sense with Van Silk. Y'all have a blessed day. Take care. I'm out. Peace.
I need to talk to Pharrell. Pharrell, come to the front of the room. If you're not Pharrell, you know what it is. Keep scrolling. Come on, nigga. This is not it.
I hate politics. Like despise them. It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side. So I think when you pick a side, you are only, you are inadvertently supporting division.
We, as black people, do not have the luxury to be apolitical. We don't have the luxury to say, oh, the system is a magic trick and I'm just going to ignore it, which is probably really easy to do when you have millions of dollars and you live and work in Paris. But in America, our rights as black people are under assault right now. We don't have the time. We don't have the luxury to be apolitical. And we definitely don't have the time to be like, both sides are the same. They are absolutely not.
Now that diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best?
This is a gross false choice between being excellent and being black, or wanting to be chosen just because you're excellent and not because you're black. Black excellence has not been the problem, or a lack of excellence in black people has not been the problem in college, in hiring, in promotions. The problem has been white bias against black people, sometimes overt, sometimes from biases those white people can't even see. The point of affirmative action and DEI was not to help black people because we are not sufficiently excellent. The problem is white bias and making white people say, hey, you need to create diverse schools, diverse workplaces, because that reflects the country and is better for everyone.
That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color.
Yes, we should support a black business just because it's black, because their success is our success. There is an inherent value in black solidarity. I understand the historic challenges that black people and women have had in opening and running businesses. So when I can support a black-owned business, a woman-owned business, I want to do that. That's a valuable way of voting with my dollars. But this whole rant from Pharrell was very problematic and indicative of how the beats are awesome, the political knowledge.
50 wouldn't say nothing about the national politics that impacts the entirety of black people in America. Couldn't get you to open your mouth about what black folks should do in the presidential election. Now we got the Department of Education being torn down, where black folks are questioning about so many funding mechanisms that take care of black children, special needs children. You use special needs children in your messaging while they're dismantling the Department of Education, and you're trusting the people who are aiding and abetting that process to govern the state of Louisiana with just and equitable policies. If you don't want to say nothing about the national politics where you have national influence, please don't come down here meddling in our local state issues when you have a platform to be able to influence black people all over this country. But it seems you only want to use that when it's beneficial to you, and I call it bullshit on.
Politics are a very real thing. It's what got all of our world leaders on a lot, our black leaders on a lot. All of these things that happened before you, bro, were very real. Pharrell Williams, you need to shut the up.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a whole lot of that. That's what you needed to hear.
Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best?
What the hell is wrong with you? Know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
I ain't been this disappointed in hip-hop since the ringtone era. I ain't been this disappointed in hip-hop since they let Bubba Sparks be a thing. This year started with Snoop.
Which one of you jigaboo ass gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out of one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first? Osby's the one that performs for himself.
About noon, just thought that I had to be in content.
Then there was Nelly.
I asked Big Head to perform for the inauguration. What?
And still more Nelly. Then 50 Cent decided he wanted to wear the red hat. Lil Wayne, I'm not ready to talk about Lil Wayne. Hey, we still don't talk about Lil Wayne. Matter of fact, it's probably his fault that Drake was suing people because his feelings got hurt. And we could put Nicki Minaj under his ledger as well.
Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice.
And now this.
As we look at what's going on, the current political climate, I'm just saying to, I don't want to turn anybody off, I hate politics. Like, despise them. It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe
real. Why politics matters. Go to my iPad. Pharrell Williams calls for investigation after cousin shot dead by police. This is a BBC story. This is a BBC story talking about the shooting of his cousin. Now, when you go into this story, it said a criminal investigation was ongoing. This is what the story says. But Pharrell says there are too many unanswered city and state questions, so is calling for an investigation at a higher federal level. This one is symbolic and a first because I had to speak at my cousin's funeral and was choked up with emotions, Pharrell said on social media, alongside a shot of the funeral program. And it goes on. Pharrell has previously called for transparency, honesty, and justice from authorities. He talked about how the officers involved in the shooting of his cousin weren't wearing their body cameras. But it was the folks who actually, through politics, fought for the city to spend $5.5 million on body cameras. So, Pharrell, let me explain to you why politics, who you vote for, matters. This is from 2022 when you called for this investigation. So you called for a federal investigation. Pharrell, in 2022, your cousin was shot in 2021. In 2022, Pharrell, who was president? Biden. Who headed the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice? Kristen Clark. Guess what? There were more federal investigations of police action since Robert F. Kennedy was Attorney General. Now, Marilyn Garland was trash, but Kristen Clark did her job. Guess what, Pharrell? Donald Trump ain't investigating cops. If your cousin was killed right now, there would be no federal investigation. Donald Trump has made it clear, I want to give cops 100% immunity. Pharrell, that's politics. That's politics. Who is in the Oval Office determines the focus of the Department of Justice. So when you say, I hate politics, it's a magic trick, not real. What you don't understand is you are telling people politics doesn't matter, but when your cousin gets shot, you then want politics to intervene because your family was hurt. For real, that's politics. So who we vote for president has a direct correlation to whether or not we have a Department of Justice federally that will allow cops to operate with impunity, or they will hold them accountable. So, Pharrell, you personally wanted a federal investigation for your cousin. But if somebody right now, black, experienced what you and your family experienced, Pharrell, I'm telling you right now, there will be no support from Trump's DOJ. And do you know why, Pharrell? Because a lot of people said, quote, I hate politics. Because a lot of people, Pharrell, said, it's a magic trick. Because a lot of people, 90 million Americans, did not vote for Pharrell because they said it's not real. Pharrell, politics becomes real when it becomes personal. And it became personal for you and your family when your cousin, Donovan Lynch, was shot and killed. And so I would hope you watch this segment And Pharrell, it's a bunch of people in the same circles. You are more than willing to call me, email me, and I'll chop it up with you. But brother, don't ever call it a magic trick and not real. Because right now, there are people who look like me and you. There are people who buy your music, who go to your festivals, who support your products. Some folks who might buy Louis, who might support other stuff that you do. Those people, their lives are being impacted by politics. The folk who might lose health care, that's politics. The folk who are seeing SNAP benefits cut, Pharrell, that's politics. The federal workers from your home state of Virginia that are out of jobs, that's politics, Pharrell. Pharrell, when they look to build a highway in Virginia, that's politics. That's federal highway funds. Pharrell, when they looking to build a park in Virginia, that's politics, Pharrell. Pharrell, when they voted on the casino in Petersburg and in Richmond, that's politics, bruh. There is nothing in our life that politics plays no role in. So, brother, I'm going to need you to get way more educated. I'm going to need you to get more understanding. And I know you can't stand celebrity endorsements. I ain't asking you to endorse anybody. I'm not asking you to go campaign for anybody. I'm not asking you to contribute to anybody. What I am asking you is to understand that when you hold a microphone to your mouth, what comes in your head, out of your mouth, into that microphone can literally impact people for good or for bad. And if people decide not to vote and not to challenge the city council, the school board, and the county commissioners, and the state representatives, and the federal government, if they choose not to do that because they heard Pharrell say he hates politics, it's a magic trick, it's not real, then that's on you. You should be better informed.